Cleo Abram just hit 7 million subscribers in under 4 years.
I'm a YouTuber. I make a show called Huge If True.
But honestly, you could tell she was gonna blow up way before that.
I'm officially...
You are, this is it.
She didn't just start a YouTube channel. She left her dream job at Vox to go solo. Most people would call that crazy. A YouTube channel takes on average 18 months just to reach 1,000 subscribers. Cleo hit 1 million in that same time. This isn't about luck. There were clues from day one that this was going to work. But more importantly, those clues reveal something bigger, a shift in how the best content gets made. Hey, I'm Angelo, and on this show I cut through the noise around YouTube and the creator economy to understand what truly matters. And today I'm showing you what made Cleo's success inevitable, and more importantly, what it tells us about the future of premium content. To understand how Cleo grew so fast, I figured the best place to start was, well, the beginning.
I'm launching a new show. Journalistically rigorous, genuinely optimistic explanations about technology.
And immediately something stood out. See, most creators starting on YouTube, I think of them as builders. They lay bricks one by one, but they don't know what they're building yet. Maybe it's a villa, maybe it's a storage room, who knows? They make up their mind as they go, but Cleo was different. I think of her as an architect. Before the first brick was laid, she already planned the foundation, the wiring, the interior design, and even the exact structural load it could handle.
I still am really into solar punk. And so the colors and like the images that I showed Whitney were like, I want like the background colors to be dark browns and dark greens and dark blues. Like it should feel like we still live on Earth, but Earth is just like wonderful.
From her very first video, she already had a clear show name, an animated intro, and clear references for a specific visual identity. But most importantly, a well-defined point of view.
Journalistically rigorous, genuinely optimistic explanations about technology.
Optimistic stories about science and technology.
Like Black Mirror, but the opposite, and journalism. Maybe the world won't actually be terrible in the future.
So in a world where tech coverage is either cynical or hype-driven, she found her lane. And this not only helps YouTube Daddy quickly target the right audience, but also it simplifies the entire creative process. Before publishing any video, she has to answer a very specific question. And that question is, what's the huge if true factor in this story?
Every episode is going to be a deep dive into an idea that could change all of our lives, that could be huge if it comes true. And I'm going to call it Huge If True.
And this is what set Cleo apart from the beginning. Her YouTube channel, well, it's not really a channel. You can't expect to see The Simpsons one day and the Super Bowl the next. It's just the same show on repeat. And when you need proof the world hasn't completely gone sideways, you throw on her show. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool, we know what to expect. And so what? And you are right, because here's the thing, you can have unbelievable brand clarity. You can create your shiny brand framework and hang it on the wall so every morning you wake up and remind yourself how cool you are. But if you want to end up on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter, you have to go a step further. So remember, Cleo is an architect, right? But, well, she's also a builder, or at least that's how she describes it.
I think about making a video like building a brick wall. Like the pitch is like, where are you going to build the wall? What are you going to build it out of? The info doc is like collecting all of the bricks and just putting them in a massive pile, or maybe like a series of piles of like organized materials. And then the outline is starting to actually build the wall.
But what exactly is she talking about? What's an info doc, an outline? All right, I got too far ahead of myself. The builder in me got excited. Let me break this down. Before Cleo ever writes a script, before she films anything, every idea has to follow a strict process. The first step is the pitch doc. Here, she defines the video's core concept, the story, and the packaging. And this is also the moment when she answered the primary question to assess the huge if true element of the story. However, the most important thing at this stage is the napkin test.
You know what a good video is if you and I sat down for coffee and I was telling you a story about something interesting, and the moment when I need to pull out like a napkin and draw a diagram or show you something on my phone and pause it and be like, you see this? Like, that's a good video.
For example, in her video about cancer, this was the visual that got the idea approved. You need to see it to understand the story. Notice how many times she used terms like this or here.
This is localized or early stage cancer. And if we catch it here, we cut it out.
These are regional and then later distant or metastatic cancers.
So the test is simple. Can your visuals carry the explanation? If not, the idea is dead. You could have the greatest topic in the world, but if you don't need visuals to explain it, it's dead. The second step is the info doc. She collects a bunch of key visuals, screenshots, references, evidence, all the bricks before she starts building. Next, she selects the final key visuals she's gonna use in the video and orders them to create the outline. And fourth, she finally writes the script. By this stage, she already knows the video's gonna work. Now, I think that defining a North Star, like optimistic stories about science and technology in her case, plus a blueprint to go from idea to final product, that's the cost of entry. Because clarity and systems, they don't make the videos interesting, they just make sure that interesting videos get made properly. So what's the missing piece?
Like, I'm just so interested in what other people are building and why, and I feel so grateful and kind of astonished all the time that there are people that are working on stuff like this.
A few years ago, Colin and Samir drew a distinction between two types of creators. Relationship-based creators, like Casey Neistat and Emma Chamberlain. Their relationship with the audience is all they need to get engagement. People watch them do anything, literally anything. Idea-based creators, on the other end, like MrBeast, they rely on their ideas to find an audience. The emphasis is on the packaging, the title and thumbnail. The idea is what drives the click. We don't care who does it, we care what they're doing. And if we imagine this as a spectrum, Cleo sits right in the middle. I thought about it after watching this interview.
You constantly put out videos that I look at and I'm like, there's no way millions of people are interested in this subject matter. And then they are.
She's not trying to crack the code and she's not chasing whatever is trending, but she's also not relying purely on personality like relationship-based creators. Let's take this as an example.
I'm signing my life away because they're gonna let me drive all of these. I'm headed to a secret test farm where some of the coolest new farm equipment gets put to use for the very first time.
Here we are. After I click, I suddenly want to know everything about robots that kill weeds with lasers. She's following what she finds interesting and then designing the journey so we can follow along with her.
I think of myself as a proxy for the audience.
Totally.
Like just the person who happens to get to be there and therefore is responsible for asking the kinds of questions that they would want to ask if they were there.
She starts every video with the first question that sparks her curiosity, even if asking that question makes her look stupid. She doesn't care.
Can I touch it?
You can touch the car, it's fine.
It's so beautiful.
And walk us through the exact same discovery process she went through.
Like, we fight about nuclear waste all the time. We say, can we even use nuclear because we end up with this radioactive waste, and where should we store it, and not near my house? And you're telling me that there's a nuclear reactor that can make electricity out of nuclear waste?
It's a rapid fire of questions, right? It's question, question, question. She's not giving answer. She's building the curiosity gap. And in the end, for every video, the final test is not how many clicks and views the video can get. Instead, she asks,
is it a genuinely good explanation?
But it's not only about that. She views her videos as love letters to the engineers, the scientists, and the experts of this world.
There is that tiny fraction of a percent that is actual experts in that field. And I always want to make sure that it's a video that they would be excited to send to like their family.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good
here's what I do.
And in the end, that's why I got sucked into a video about robots killing weeds. She creates engagement through authentic curiosity. Mix that with brand clarity and production systems, and you got explanations that are satisfying and shareable. And that's what made her success predictable from day one. We could stop here. Now we understand Cleo's success. But if you made it this far, there's still a bigger question. Why any of these actually matter? Because Cleo's success tells a story about the future of premium content. Let me explain. Cleo spent years at Vox. She went from working on the marketing team to producing her own Explain episode on Netflix. So why leave? Why walk away from a dream job at one of the biggest journalist brands in the world to start from scratch on YouTube? Honestly, the answer today is pretty obvious. And that's the crazy part. If you have the guts to go independent, all the incentives are there.
I felt just creatively that Huge If True had something specific that I wanted to say, and that I wanted to say it on my own.
You can have creative freedom to tell the stories you want to tell, the ability to iterate fast and ship quickly, and on top of that, you can keep your own IP, 100% of revenue, and build equity in your own brand. That makes a huge difference. Now, obviously, when you leave, you lose all the infrastructure, but something changed. For decades, a trade-off made sense. You gave up ownership and creative control to get distribution, infrastructure, and audience. Now, that trade-off isn't worth it anymore. YouTube destroyed the distribution barrier. Now, the only remaining challenge is knowing how to craft stories that actually matter. And once you have the knowledge, there's no reason to stay. So this is bigger than just Cleo. Mark Rober left NASA to become one of the most successful science communicators on YouTube. Casey Newton left The Verge for Substack and built Platformer, and Scott Galloway's influence and media reach far exceed his university role. The pattern is everywhere. It's becoming increasingly difficult to hold on to talent. Premium content is moving away from institutions and companies to individual creators. Cleo, 7 million subscribers in 4 years. It's not luck, it's by design. That's what happens when you take institutional level craft and combine it with full ownership. She isn't just a successful creator, she's a glimpse of what the future of premium content actually looks like. And that future is already here. So if you're building something right now, here are the questions. Do you have brand clarity, or are you just guessing? Do you have system to execute? And do you actually care about the topics you are choosing? These are the 3 elements that make Cleo succeed: clarity, systems, and curiosity. And that's replicable, not by copying what she did, but by understanding the principles behind it. That's it for this week's video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this one, subscribe to the channel. It will truly mean a lot. Keep it up, and see you in the next video.